Shadowhunters, Angels and Darkmothers alike, and welcome to my First Thoughts episode of episode 16 of Shadowhunters Season 2B, A Day of Atonement. I still don't have a charger. I'm using my friend's laptop, so I am going to try and do this uncut, because my friend obviously doesn't have my video editor on her computer, so I'll have to upload the raw file onto YouTube, so it should be interesting to see me uncut. Probably is going to be a big mistake because I do fuck up a lot in these videos. You can notice that there are quite a few jump cuts every single time I make videos like this. So today you're going to see those mistakes because there's nothing I can do about it. And I just can't record on my laptop. It's dead and my charger hasn't arrived yet, so just the way things go, I guess. And I'm not missing another video, so we can call this like a special episode, like Erin Uncut or something. So let's get into First Thoughts Erin Uncut then. My first thoughts on A Day of Atonement. So at the start of A Day of Atonement, Robert Lightwood returned to the Institute. This was the first thing that I kind of latched onto when I was watching it. At first I didn't recognise the actor. I'm pretty sure he is the same because I recognised the name in when the names of the guest stars show up at the start of the episode. I recognised his name. I just didn't process it properly until Robert showed up, and I was just like, oh fuck, I was like, there's Robert. So Robert returned to the Institute because he vouched for Alec to stay as head of the Institute after Valentine escaped because of Duncan. So he, the way the episode went was that I think Isabel and Alex suspected that there was something going on between him and the Inquisitor, because why was he having such a close relationship with her to get stuff from her and make her do things if it wasn't a closer relationship than it should be. But it's revealed at the end that's not true, but we'll discuss that in Fair and Unbiased. And when he went to talk to Alec in Alec's office, I was kind of wary about how the conversation was going to go, because it's very easy to have one of these things where a character is caught cheating or admits to cheating, or everyone knows that they're a cheater, and for them to say things like, I didn't mean it, it was a mistake, I really love your mother, I didn't mean to hurt her. And I was waiting for it to start trying to excuse his behaviour. You know, say something like, oh, I didn't mean it, it was a mistake. Or try and use the fact that he said he loved this woman, whoever she is. Like, try to use that as an excuse to defend what he had done. But thankfully it didn't. I was really relieved that Alec wasn't taking it. Like, he said, thanks for what you've done, but it doesn't excuse what you did to our mother. And something that I noticed that Alec's father said when they were having this conversation was, he said, I didn't mean to hurt you. And I think he meant I didn't mean to hurt you, Isabel or Max. He didn't say that he didn't mean to hurt Maris. And it was just like, oh, okay, so you fuck Maris then. She, meant to hurt her. But maybe it was just a lapse in judgment that he forgot to mention her. But whoever this woman is that he's having an affair with, he claims that he loves her. So maybe he did mean to hurt Maris in the end because it means that he can be with this woman. Or he still has to hide being with that woman because, as Maris explained, they can't just have a quickie divorce because the Clave doesn't work like that. The Shadowhunters don't work like that. You can't just do that. So he claims that he loves this woman, whoever she is. They suspected that it was the Inquisitor. I don't think it is. I think that was the whole point of this episode. It was just like, no, it's not. There's a bigger thing going on here. And I'm really glad that they didn't excuse it, especially so quickly. I was actually surprised by how, civil they all were with each other, because after their reaction to finding out that Robert had cheated on Maris, I thought that they'd be a lot more aggressive, especially Jace, but then Jace never saw him. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, Jace would have, attacked him or something, or started yelling, because he was pretty angry. I suppose Alec can't really do it because he's in charge of the Institute, and it wouldn't look well on his part, especially after already being treading on thin ice after Valentine escaping. So, not that I wanted him to all start attacking or something. I was just surprised by how calm they were by his appearance in the Institute after finding out what he had done. But I put all that aside for the fact that they didn't excuse what he had done. That's the main point I was relieved about, and the main point I'm trying to make here. They didn't make him spout some bullshit about not meaning it, or I did it because I love this woman and all that blah, and for them to go, oh, Robert, oh, you're so troubled, we are so sorry, we didn't mean to be angry at you. Who cares about how Maris feels? You were in love with her. So I'm glad that didn't happen, because that could have so easily happened, because it would have made the conflict resolved a lot easier. You know, just sort of have him say some sort of bullshit explanation and have them just sort of go, okay, that makes sense, and then go off on happy families again. But they didn't do that. And it's nice to see that even though that they're being so cold towards him, like they're being civil with him, but they're being kind of cold as well. It's nice to see that even though they're being cold to him, he's still trying to help them. Like, he hasn't Robert hasn't changed his attitude towards his children. He yelled at Max because Max read those messages, and it's, I suppose, just one of those things, like if you say don't go in that top secret file and don't read what's inside it, like you're going to get angry, like if your child ignores you and goes and does it anyway. But he's treating them still like his children. He's not returning the animosity that they're giving him. And he actually helped them. He helped Isabel get a portal to Lake Lynn. He talked to Alec. He kept Alec. He convinced the Institute to have Alec still as the head of the Institute. And he's still being a father. At least we can give him that, because book reference again, Robert and Maris don't really have a large part in the books, and Robert cheating is kind of thrown in I think City of Fallen Angels. I'm not sure. It's just sort of thrown in, never mentioned again. You never get to see the Lightwoods being parents to their children. They're just always there on business, or they're there doing this, or they're doing that. They're never there to help their children be parents and do parental things. Maybe that was supposed to be commentary on how severe the Shadow World is, but I much prefer this version where you get to see them being severe and being strict and being stern with them, but still being parents and still caring about them and still trying to help them out when things go wrong. Because the Lightwood family is broken. There are loads of cracks in them, but they are they're not falling apart. They're trying to keep each other together, and they're keeping each other together. It doesn't matter what they've done, they try and see past it. Isabel and Alec aren't going to forgive what Robert did, but they probably still will consider him their father, because there's nothing that's going to change that. And he did help them out a lot with when Jace vanished, and even though that's not going to excuse ever what he did to Maris, it's nice to see that Robert is still making the effort to try and stay connected with his children. So, as I say, I'm really relieved they didn't go all, oh, well, excuse what he did. He's in love. They had him explain why he did what he did, but no one excused him for his behaviour, and despite that, he still tried to help them, and I really liked that. I thought that was really good, and I want to see more of Robert and Maris in these episodes. I really like the interactions that we've seen in Season 2, Season 2B in particular, and I would really like to see more of it. But with a few episodes left, I'm not sure if that'll happen, but maybe it'll be something they'll explore in Season 3. I don't know, I just think it would be interesting to see more of the Lightwood dynamics, and with things that I've seen in the preview for next week, I think the Lightwoods are going to have to stick together more than ever if what's going to happen is going to happen. I'm really worried. So the next point I have written here, because I don't know if it's obvious or not, but in the uncut versions I try to hide as much as possible that I have a notebook on my desk, but with bullet points, but there's no way to hide it, so I've got a notebook on my desk. So the next point I've written here is Clary being difficult as usual. I really didn't like Clary's attitude in this episode. I understand that she's heartbroken, and I understand that she's not going to get over this heartache, it's just at the drop of a hat. I understand that. I excused it for Simon. I said Simon needs his time. Clary needs her time too, because Clary was forced to kiss Jace. I get that. But at the start of the episode, she was sitting saying to Jace, oh, well, we need to focus on getting Valentine. And you're like, fine, don't focus on your feelings. Try and focus on finding Valentine. That's great. Good job, Clary. Good. It's a good thinking. It's let's put our feelings aside and just try and focus on Valentine. Good thinking, Clary. That actually seemed like a clever thought from Clary. Can you believe it? And But then, like, immediately after, they brought up the Sealy court, and then not Isabel. See, this is the kind of stutters that I'd cut out. Clary says, does anything good ever happen in the Sealy court? And you're like, Clary, is that necessary? You literally said don't bring up, like feelings and shit. And you're sitting going, like, does anything good really happen in the Sealy court? It's like, you were there once. Alright, you were there once, something really horrific happened, but you literally just said, don't bring up feelings, we focus on business, and then you go and say this shit. What was the point? It's just Clary, I feel like, not virtue signaling, is that even the right word? Like, trying to seem like she's trying to be, like, all business-like, and trying to be like she's trying to act professional, and then immediately after, being a little bitch. Like, what was even the point? And then, even later, when Jace calls her to help him with the map of Lake Lynn and saying, like, we need to figure out a way to get here, she's a dick. She's like, oh, well, you know, I said that I wanted us to try and focus on helping Valentine, but I didn't mean I wanted to work with you. And you're like, Clary, what the actual fuck? Like, that's literally against everything that you literally said at the start of this episode. Oh, we need to be professional and try and focus on Valentine. Oh, Jace, you need help trying to find Valentine. Yeah, fuck off. I didn't mean that. I didn't want to work with you. You know, I meant I wanted to work with the others. Like, I know you have a really interesting lead, but no. And then, obviously, like, she comes in, like, she's all, like, interested when she sees, like, the map of Idris and everything. And I'm going to talk about the rune thing in Fair and Unbiased, because I have a slight problem with it, but I'm going to bring that up in Fair and Unbiased, obviously. But Clary was just being... Clary was just being Clary. Let's just say. Clary was being Clary. And as I say, I can understand her being upset and feeling traumatized and feeling heartbroken after what happened in the Sealy court. But she can't act like, oh, well, we need to be professional, and then just continue to be an unprofessional dick towards Jace. Because it wasn't Jace's fault either. What happened? And he's going through a lot because she's ignoring him because of her heartache, so he's getting more heartache, and there's just a lot of heartache going on. So it would have been good if they had just focused on being professional and focusing on the job at hand. But instead of thinking, oh, Jace needs my help, she was like, ew, Jace needs my help. I don't want to help him. I can't be in a room with him. She's putting her emotions in front of what she said that she wanted to focus on, and it's a completely confusing thing to get on with, because it can be said, well, she's hurting, she's heartache, she doesn't want to be in the same room as Jace, it hurts her. But then I can't comprehend her saying, like, well, let's be professional, because you can't just go and say, let's be professional, and then there's something you're called to do that you don't like, you just immediately turn on your heels, like, well, I didn't mean that I wanted to help with you, and you're like, do you understand how much of a dicky thing that is to say? Clary's just continuing to be Clary, and I really don't fucking like it. And then we're supposed to believe later that she was able to fight off 2 well-trained shadow hunters while hocked up on hallucinogenic water. No, fuck off. This is the whole beating Isabel thing all over again from the start of season 2, and I am not buying it. I'm sorry, I am not fucking buying it. You see Clary train a couple of times. These people have been training since they were born, since they were Max's age, since this is what they have grew up with, this is the routine that they have lived with for their entire lives. You cannot convince me for 1 second that Clary was able to fight off both of them while hocked up on hallucinogenic drugs. I'm sorry, that did not fucking happen, and I do not fucking buy it. Every time they pull something like that, I just don't believe it, because the problem with having Clary come into this when she was 18 years old means that she has a lot of training to do, and they've only shown some of her training, and they seem to forget that shadow hunters don't just train physically, they have to study, and you never see Clary studying anything. So I do not believe for 1 second that she beat Isabel or she beat Jace. She did not beat them both at the same fucking time. I'm sorry, that is Mary Sue Frey coming out again, and she had hidden herself well for most of season 2B, but no, they had to just get her out for at least once in this season. Fuck, I hate it. I hate her. I can't cope with her. She really does my head in. I can't. No. Years of studying and training to be a shadow hunter, beaten by Clary Frey. Fuck off. I'm sorry. Fuck off. No. No. Just... No! No! So, next bullet point, Clary and Jace blundering off as usual. I understand that Jace had this lead and they denied him access to a portal. But you know what would have been useful? You know what might have helped? talking to Alec. You know why talking to Alec might have helped Jace? Because he had just had a conversation with his father. He just had a conversation with his father, who basically said that he can influence the Inquisitor's decision. If you had have went to Alec and said, I asked for a portal and they denied it, as head of the Institute, Alec could have went to his father and asked, can you try and get this portal for Jace? But no, because Jace is Jace, and Jace would not talk to Alec, even though they're Parvati. He decides, I'm going to invite Clary to come with me, and we're going to go and blunder off to Lake Lynn, even though we don't know that the water is hallucinogenic. By the way, why do they not know that the water is hallucinogenic? Why do they not know that this is a thing? Because the water, the lake is part of their world, part of Idris. They study ever since they're a child about Idris and their ways of life. Did they not learn that Lake Lynn is a poisonous, water source? Was this something that they keep from people? Is this like a secret that they hide? It was something in the books. But the thing about the books was that Clary and Luke were thrown into the water, and then Luke dragged her out and was like, yeah, you might feel a bit ill, the water's hallucinogenic. Clary didn't know because she wasn't part of the Shadow World. I don't understand why Jace didn't know. I don't understand why Isabel didn't know. I don't understand why Alec didn't know. I don't know if I missed something, but I don't know why it wasn't explained why they weren't made aware of this. Is it a secret that they have to keep? There's a secret about Lake Lynn that gets revealed later on, but I don't understand that this has nothing to do with that. So I just don't understand it. And I never thought that I would say that the book made more sense at one point, but literally this one small detail, the book made more sense. Can you believe I'm actually saying that? The book made more sense. And them blundering off, if they hadn't have blundered off, they could have gotten a proper portal. They could have got a proper portal from Alec, and Alec could have gotten his dad to go to the Inquisitor and say, hey, look, can you sanction Jace's portal? He's on to something here. But no, because communication between Jace and Alec, especially in the books, but it's becoming more so in the show, communication between them two is non-existent. As Parvati, they don't seem to talk to each other about much, and this problem could have been so easily solved if Jace had went to Alec and said, hey, they're not letting me have a portal, and then he would have went to his dad and said, hey, can you sanction this portal? That easy. And I know there wouldn't have been drama if there hadn't of been this whole portal stuff, but I don't know, it didn't work. It didn't work for me, and I hate Clary and Jace blundering off, breaking rules, doing things that got endangered not only them, but other people, because Isabel had to go and friggin' help them, because Jace left Estelle behind. Clary dropped hers in Lake Lynn, which again wouldn't have happened if they got a proper portal, and I just can't cope with the two of them. I feel like the show would be so much better if Jace and Clary weren't there, because all they do is fuck up. All they do is mess things up and make things difficult for everyone else. I can't cope with them. I really can't. So let's leave that there. I can't talk about that anymore. It'll get me angry. I'm really happy that Simon's Jewish heritage is explored even further. Every time we get mention of Simon's Jewish heritage, I get really happy, because it's nice to see that they're exploring Jewish traditions and their ways of life and their holidays and stuff like that and their occasions. I think it's really interesting, because I didn't know a Day of Atonement was a thing. I don't know much about the Jewish heritage. I can't say that I'm particularly well informed on things that Jewish people do. All I really know about is Hanukkah, and that's kind of a common thing for people to know about. And I thought it was really interesting to see them gathering together for their Day of Atonement, and it was really interesting concept to see Simon's family gathered together, unaware that he's a vampire, and then asking what do you regret from the year? And it's a very heavily loaded question, and they don't even know it. And it was just nice. I like seeing Simon, and I like seeing his family explored. I like seeing his religion explored. I think it's really, really interesting, and it helps serve people to know more about the Jewish heritage, because now people probably have watched it, don't know a lot about the Jewish heritage, would go, oh, the Day of Atonement, I know about that. I heard about that in Shadowhunters. Obviously, you can't go like, oh, I know all about the Day of Atonement. I saw that in Shadowhunters. No, what I mean is that, like, people can say that I wouldn't necessarily say that it teaches people, but it makes them more aware of these things. And I just really like seeing Simon's Jewish heritage explored. I especially liked it a few episodes ago when he brought up about his bubby. I thought that was really, like, interesting. I think it was in Those of Demon Blood when he brought it up, and he brought up about, I don't know if it was Nazi Germany that she was in, but during World War I, when they started making them wear patches and stuff like that. It's really interesting to see that things like this aren't just brushed over. They're interested in exploring it, showing their holidays, their ways of praying. Like Maya brought up temple and everything. I just find it really interesting personally, and I think it's really nice that they're trying to show respect to their religion by. The writers are trying to show respect to Simon's religion by showing him partaking in these things and showing him exploring and practicing his religion. I just like it. I think it's really cool, and I find it really interesting. And I'm saying interesting a lot, but interesting is the word that I think describes it best. I really like it, and I can't wait to see if they're going to do more, and I hope they do. Like, obviously it's not going to be something that's going to crop in every episode, but I hope, like, it still crops up every now and then, because I think it's really interesting. Simon, by the way, don't date Maya. Please don't make this into a thing where you're going to date Maya, because if you date Maya, then I feel like they're going to bring Isabel in, and I really hope Todd Slapkin meant it when he said that he wasn't going to make Simon date them both at the same time, because that is something really problematic from the books that I really don't want them to touch on. So Simon, leave Maya as a friend. She's got plots of her own coming. You've got plots of your own coming. Be friends. Please. Just please be friends. Please. So final point here is explanation for Sebastian's appearance. I'm going to touch down on this more in Fair and Unbiased. I did it in my last week's Fair and Unbiased that I recorded on my phone, which then my phone would not let me upload. But Sebastian's not pretty anymore, and people are flipping their lid, and this is something that I'm going to discuss more in the Fair and Unbiased for this episode, because this is running kind of long and I don't want it to drear on, and I'm really hoping my charger will come before then, because I really hate doing this uncut. I feel like it drags too much, and I don't know, I don't like it, so hopefully my charger will come, but and I'll be able to, like, do this properly for Fair and Unbiased. But Sebastian's appearance has an explanation, and people were flipping their lids last week. They created a hashtag Shadowhunters is over party just because Sebastian isn't pretty. Can you fucking believe it? Like, can you really fucking believe some of these people? So I'll be talking about that more in Fair and Unbiased, but he was tortured, actually. He was burned alive. That's why he looks the way he does. And I think that's really interesting, and it makes sense. And I like the way that the people in Eden, I think Eden thought that he was too pretty, because that's just basically a testament to all the people who are complaining. They want him pretty, and the demon's like, nah, bitch, he's too pretty. Let's burn this guy. Let's roast him, make him a bit crispy, like burnt toast, pretty much. It looks like burnt toast with, like, jam on it, and it's just, I find it hilarious, but, like, some people are really offended by it, and it's just like, he's a demon, what do you expect? Of course he's gonna look ugly. So one more thing I want to touch on is that I hope that I'm not going to see people complaining that Magnus and Luke were not in this episode. People have a habit of mollycoddling Magnus and Luke because I'm going to try and touch the thread very carefully with this, but people seem to mollycoddle Luke and Magnus because they are played by actors who are part of an underrepresented group on television. Luke is played by Isaiah Mufasa, a black man, and Magnus is played by Harisham Jr., an Asian man. And people seem to take this as a means and an excuse of constantly coddling their characters. There are going to be episodes where Magnus and Luke are not going to be there, and that's just the way it is. They didn't write them out because of the fact that Luke is black or Harry's Asian, or they don't want to touch their characters. They weren't in this episode because they were doing something else. Magnus is right back in next episode, and I'm pretty sure that what they were away doing in this episode is going to play a part you know? So I don't really think that this was useless, the fact that they weren't there, and I really hope people aren't going to sit and mollycoddle them about it and go like, Magnus and Luke weren't in this episode, blah blah blah, they have no respect for their characters. Grow up, they were at the Sealy court, they were doing something. I'm not going to talk about this anymore because, you know what, I think it's a frankly stupid thing for people to be complaining about. So I just knocked something over. So I'll see yous on Friday, hopefully, if my charger comes, Shadowhunters, Angels, and Darmwaters alike. And remember, Sebastian is ugly. I feel like I need to press this again. This was my remember for last week as well. But remember, Sebastian's ugly. It's just the way it is. Deal with it. He's fucking crispy. They roasted his ass. Deal with it. Okay? Yeah. And you're going to have to see me get up and switch my laptop off, because there's no editor to cut it out. So, watch me switch my laptop off. Bye, guys!